Hey guys, subscribe for daily content, and if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks! What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got 5 super underrated knives that I want to share with you guys, and all of them are available. I'll be linking them right down below. I handle a ton of knives on this channel. I do 2 uploads a day, so there's constantly stuff coming in, stuff that I love and stuff that I don't love so much, right? It seems like me and a lot of other channels are constantly recommending the same stuff. You should buy a PM2. You should buy a Benchmade Griptilian. You should buy the ZT0562, right? I mean, like, we've all heard, like, these are the great knives, and a lot of those are available, right? I come across a lot of stuff that I'm like, wow, this is really cool. I love this, but they just kind of fly under the radar. So I like to do these videos every few months and just let you guys know which knives that I handled that I was like, wow, I love these, but not many people have experienced them due to lack of popularity for one reason or another. So I'm going to share these with you guys. Thanks so much to my generous patrons for supporting me right now. You can find a link for Patreon right down in the description. And please, if you haven't noticed this card yet, follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. Starting off here, these are in no particular order. Oh my gosh, this one I actually have here in hand. By the way, all of these I have reviewed except for this guy. The review's coming. So you'll be able to go back and check out the full reviews on each of these knives. This is the Hinderer and Viper Knives Storm, or Viper Storm. This is such a weird, like, people know about this, right? But I think a lot of people were hesitant to pick it up because they were like, the only non-true Hinderer knife that we're comfortable with is like the 0562 or the 0393 through ZT. Those are excellent knives, very recommendable knives, but everybody already knows about them. A lot of people have experienced them. This guy, I looked at that and thought originally the same thing. I thought, okay, so this is an Italian-made Hinderer? What a weird collaboration, right? It kind of looks like a medium-sized half-track. Okay, it looks all right, but I'm a little unsure about the quality. They want $200 to $220. It's going to need to be something really cool. Are they really going to capture the Hinderer essence? Yes. They did capture the Hinderer essence. This has a beautiful finish on it, and all of the hardware placement of everything really gives off that Hinderer vibe. I've handled, you know, the MP1, the Jurassic, the half-track, the what's the dagger? The Maximus, right? The 3-inch XM18, the 3.5-inch, the 24, the Eclipse. I've handled everything from Hinderer, so I have a pretty good grasp on what I expect from a Hinderer knife and a Hinderer collaboration, right? This definitely does it. This is a lot of people are going to point out, he's missing a screw. Yeah, he is missing a screw. The hardware is very similar to what Hinderer uses. In fact, the filler tab and the pocket clip are actually interchangeable with real Hinderer parts. This is M390, G10, and titanium. Functions flawlessly, has bearings, really smooth action. We're really close to the camera here today, guys, so you have to take my word for it. Yeah, for those of you looking to scratch that Hinderer itch right now and you're like, I can't because nobody can buy them because they sell out in one set, right? Give this a shot. This is definitely worth it. And if you're wondering overall length, this is about 7¼ I think it's about 7¼ inches overall if you don't count that HMBS on the back. Yeah, about a little over 7¼ if you count the HMBS on the back, a little over 7.5 inches. But what's cool is if you don't want this thing back here, you can simply remove it with common tools. There are standoffs underneath there. This is phenomenal. Not everybody's looking for a $200 knife, but if you are and you're a big fan of Hinderer knives, this is ridiculously underrated and deserves way more attention. I will make sure that these are linked right down below. Moving on here, a knife that people are definitely familiar with, but for whatever reason just doesn't, you know, like everything else on this list, it just doesn't get a lot of attention. The Benchmade Mini Presidio 2. Now, don't let the mini term fool you. This is still right there on the line, you know, with a full-size knife because the original Presidio 2, which is a great knife, I believe you can still buy those as well, is huge. This thing is this is a Benchmade, so it's American-made, comes in at $140, S30V and CF Elite, which is a combination of carbon fiber and injection mold plastic. In any case, the build quality, the action, the ergonomics, the entire design is wonderful. Somebody sent one of these in, and like I said, you can go back and review it if you don't want to just look at a picture. Or, I'm sorry, you can go back and watch my review. Go back and review it. You can go back and watch my review of me physically handling this. I've got everything sorted out in playlists, so you can check it out in recommended knives or in my Benchmade knives playlist. I got this and thought, all right, it's going to be another Benchmade. It's not gonna, it's not gonna be up there with the greats like the 940 and the Super Freak and the Griptilian. Oh my gosh, no, this was phenomenal. And the action was wonderful. The blade profile was wonderful. The entire carry profile was great. And I thought the scales and how they did the texturing or the milling or whatever, I thought that would be problematic in and out of the pocket or in the hand. I thought it might be uncomfortable. They gave it the right clip. You can't see in this picture, but they gave it the deep carry clip. I had very few issues with this. And considering, Benchmade's deal with the pricing, right? It always seems like you're paying a little more for a Benchmade. I was actually pretty okay with this. This is super duper recommendable. And people, down in the comment section, if you've got one of these, I'm going to guess that you feel the same way. If you've ever been scrolling through retailers, you've come across this and thought, neat, I don't know. No, trust me, this is a really good knife. This knife deserves way more attention, in my opinion. And if you're looking for something, in this territory, give this one a shot for sure. Moving on here, a knife that has a variant that has been on these lists before in the past. You can check out the past underrated knives in my top 5, top 10 playlist section. This is the large Kizer Domain. I've put the small Kizer Domain on this list before. I was big into the small one over the large one initially because the newer, at the time, the newer small one came in N690, which is a steel that I prefer over VG10, which was the only steel that you could get the large Domain in. Now this larger one that has a way cooler aesthetic, this sort of vintage looking dark micarta and the black wash on the blade, also comes in N690, which is it's not going to hold an edge forever, but it's very, very stainless and super easy to sharpen up. And I like the performance of it a lot. $60. This version of the Domain is the best one out there. I very much love the blade profile, the cutting geometry, right? The carry profile is wonderful. It just folds up into just kind of a non-aggressive rectangle. This is just a good design. There are definitely better knives out there, but geez, this is $60 for micarta overlays, shadow boxed by the steel liners, right? The entire look of it is very straightforward, modern, right? But it's a great tool. The thumb studs work perfectly. The action's great on it, right? And N690 steel. Big fan of this. Huge fan of this. I don't know if you guys have actually seen the review yet on this guy, but you can definitely go back and see the unboxing of it, see me physically handle it. But yeah, I had it here, experienced it for a few weeks. Absolutely love this knife. Definitely something you guys should check out. And, this is great because $60, it's not going to break the bank. Moving on here. Now, before I show this one, just letting you guys know, there's going to be a lot of people going, what? It's so small. How can you say? I'm the type of person who doesn't like what I consider to be micro knives or really teeny tiny knives, right? I have this rule about how many fingers I can get on the handle scales, right? I mean, like for it to be preferable, right? And it can be hard to justify a lot of money for a tiny object. I get that. Normally this is where I do my caveman voice, but I get it. It's small and it's quite a bit of money, but I just loved this thing so much. This is the Spyderco MCB. Part of the reason I love this so much is after having experienced for the first time the Spyderco Paysan, the Spyderco Slish Bowie, that sway back design is that also Slish? I can't remember. That sort of bead blasted titanium mixed with that beautiful reflective tumbling that they do on the blades. These are the premium Taiwan made Spydercos, and this thing works as a teeny tiny little knife, right? You work in an office or you've got restrictions, right? Or you're going to a formal event where you really don't want to have something super aggressive in your pocket, something that works and cuts and does what you need it to do, which is just simple stuff day to day. But maybe you want something a little bit more flashy, a little bit more cool. This thing functions. You can go back and watch my full review on it. The blade is basically just a little utility blade. It's a little Warncliffe, but it has that premium polish to it. While it is $140, which I know a lot of people are going to go, nope, can't do it, too small for $140. That's fine. But for those of you who can find a place for a micro knife or a small knife, in your day-to-day, this is excellent. It was actually thought out. It's not like, oh, neat, it's small. It doesn't really work, but it's neat because it's small. No, this was well thought out. The finish on it's great. I love the entire profile of it. I just love how it looks. This is definitely underrated. I really feel like this should have been more popular, and the reason that it isn't is because it's so tiny. It's because people look at the size of it, they look at the dimensions, they look at the price, and they go, nope. But if you're in the market for something like this, I'm not saying you guys should all rush out and buy this. I'm saying this deserves more attention. It's better than people think it is. It's underrated. Absolutely. Moving on here. By the way, the reason this is only 5 today is so that this doesn't end up being a 30-minute video like it usually is. I love this last knife. I absolutely love it. And it's not an expensive knife. The knife is the new Concept Main Street. Not the little Main Street, the Main Street. This is an 8-inch knife, full-size knife. I believe this is a Dirk Pinkerton design. G10 and steel with a steel liner lock, and the blade steel is 154 cm. Arguably the most well-rounded steel in existence. One of my favorite, if not my very favorite steels of all time. This is so good. Oh my gosh. There is no way this picture is going to do this thing justice. It just looks like another run-of-the-mill sub $100 knife, right? In a sea of other sub $100 knives that are available here in 2021. But it is much better than that, right? That's why this is getting passed over, is because companies like Concept are so plentiful. There's so many companies out there competing for this price point, right? But this thing does stand out when you get it in hand, right? I've passed this thing around to local friends, just letting them look at it and think, and they're like, wow, it feels like a much more expensive knife than it is. It also comes in a wide variety of different finishes and different scale colors, and you can even get a carbon fiber one if you want. This comes in at 80 bucks. Definitely worth it. I love the blade shape. I found, here in this last year, I actually really prefer a Wharncliffe style blade for EDC because it makes simple the stuff that I normally do with a knife, like opening packages and making draw cuts and stuff like that. That stuff is made so much easier with a Wharncliffe blade. This was executed properly. It has a great cutting geometry, easy access to the thumb studs, very fidgety for those of you who are like me and you're a couch flipper, you like to sit and kind of fidget around. Oh my gosh, it's wonderful. This is so much better. It just gives off this really generic Wharncliffe knife vibe, right? But then you get it and you're like, oh man, it's kind of melty ergos. It kind of fits the hand really well and it fits in the pocket really well. The pocket clip's good, right? Minimal hardware. If you want to take it apart, it's a simple liner lock. 154 cm is the cherry on top of all of it. Now that is a steel that now fits into that price point, but we just don't see it enough. Companies like Concept are using it. Some other companies are using it, right? I'll still pay $150 to $200 for an American ProTech in 154 cm. That's how much I love that steel. So will I pay $80 for it in a good design like this? 100%. This definitely deserves you guys' attention, right? If you're looking for a knife, if you just want to scratch an itch. I understand people watch because they want to scratch an itch, right? I get that. I'm like that all the time. If you're wanting to pick something up for yourself or a gift for somebody else, right? You want a high quality product and you want to spend less than $100. There's a few items on this list, but or at least a couple, but yeah, that Main Street is really good. Concept has been hit or miss. They've got pretty good quality. Their designs are like, wow, neat, or good quality, but the design doesn't make sense. This design makes perfect sense to me. Guys, that's all the longer this video needs to be. These are always fun to do. I'm really glad that you guys enjoy watching stuff like this. Like I said, all of these will be linked right down below so that you can pick them up if you'd like to. Please make sure, once again, to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and subscribe because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.